That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. I always try and tone my voice down on the Monday lives just because I realize full well it's first thing Monday morning for everybody. I realize that. So believe it or not, I do try and tone it down so we could ease into the week. I don't expect anybody to want to sign up for full blown John on a Monday morning. So we try and take it easy on a Monday morning. It feels a little more springy in the air. Notre Dame football is fully immersed into their spring sessions. And I think every day that the reporting comes out, we learn a little bit more about the DNA of this team. We get a little bit more of a concrete feel of comforts and concerns, confidences and concerns. I think we're starting to feel our way out, even though it's only been a handful of practices, maybe not even that. I do think there's certain things that we can take stock of, kind of look at where we were at before spring and then what we've learned. Does it reaffirm some of our confidences and concerns, or does it make us rethink some of that? And so I just think it's great to have this opportunity to be able to go over it with spring. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Obviously, on YouTube, you know where to find me. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps me more than you realize. Notifications on. That way you're alerted every time something new drops. You don't want to miss it. Twitter, search bar, always Irish rat. Always Irish Shake. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only. Anywhere you want me, you can get me. Call-in line 312-900-8815. Tell Johnny all you heard and seen. Fighting Irish Wire every day. Type it into the Google machines on the internet and read about Notre Dame football. You can't beat it. It's Notre Dame information more than you ever knew you needed, but you need it. So get it. Okay. So let's do a roll call, and then we're going to get into a couple things here. And I got something really fun to go over. And then I have one thing I want to throw at you guys, see what you think on the good or the bad, the plus or the minus. Here's something else. I should have been saying this all along as spring practice starts. At any time, any one of these morning shows or whenever I do them, I have a couple specific topics just for us to try and kind of like have a main focus. But for all of spring ball, the lines and the chat are always open for you just to share what you think about spring ball, either overall or something individual that you saw, someone individual that you saw, judging from the clips we get from the beat guys or what other people have seen or written. Whatever. So I want you to know, feel free at any point all spring when we're doing this, no matter what the extra specific topic is, you could always just call in and go, I saw this and it makes me think this, or I saw that and it makes me think that. Like whatever you want to do, that's fine. That's what we're here for. So feel free to do that. Today specifically, again, updates, how you feel it's going. And I want to know who you think needs to step up for Notre Dame to reach their goals in 23. We've been doing a lot of general stuff, being like, okay, this position group is starting from a questionable spot. We need them to be better or more well-rounded, whatever. I'm going to go over some specific names that I think need to step up to really shore up some of the questions that I think we're going to have as we enter the regular season. So that being said, let's do roll call and then get to it. Phone lines are open. I've noticed unless there's games going on, sometimes Monday morning, the phone lines are slow. Listen, like I said, I totally get it. I totally get it. Not that many people probably wake up and they're like, oh, I can't wait to see John's face yelling at me at 9 a.m. on a Monday. So I totally get that. But if anybody has any of those thoughts, dial it up. Okay. Oh, Nick Dean. Good to see you, Nick. Nick's a loyal listener here all the time, and I appreciate it very much. I have to agree with your post yesterday. Estime's looking ready to punish people. All right. Here, I forget where I said this. who I said it to. I think it's on an episode I recorded Friday night, but haven't posted yet, so you didn't see it. I forget. I have so many of these I've done, and then in the off season, I could do some a couple days ahead and then post them. I forget what I posted or not. Here's my response on this. It is clear they have been working on Estime's body. The six-pack is there. He doesn't look quite like the bowling ball he did when he came in. Like, I'm not saying it was fat. He was just big and bulky kind of, and then running over. He looks totally different. He looks different. Shredded with the six-pack, more shifty, all of that. Okay, like he looks that from the photos. Now, there's a plus and a potential minus to his body changing in that way. The plus side is if he has any wiggle room at all now, he's going to be so dangerous. Like that lateral movement and quickness, if you've shedded some excess weight and it's all muscle, it's beautiful. So on the plus side, he's going to be able to maneuver and make moves and do more of that. And I love that. Here is the potential downside to him thinning up. There is one. There's a point here. There's a point. The number one thing I love about Estime's game is that he is an offensive player who delivers the blow to the defense. He does not get hit. He hits you. And if you are in the way, he is running through you. And you might get him down, but he's gaining another 3.5 yards carrying you while you're doing it. All right? That's the line. That's the line. I am fine with him thinning up and whatever up till the threshold gets crossed that I see him taking it instead of giving him because it's the number one benefit he brings to the team, not only in physicality, but in mentality. That's my number one favorite thing about Estime. His mentality is, I'm going to hit you. I don't care if I have the ball and you don't. I'm hitting you. Pull me down if you can. You're in my way. I'm going this way, and you're in my way. And we have an issue here that needs to be resolved. Either I'm running through you and over you, or I'm going to run over you, get 3 yards, and you drag me down, and then you're embarrassed, and you go to the sideline, and you're out of breath because I just took the wind out of your soul by lowering my helmet and getting an extra 3 yards on your ass. That's my favorite part about Audric Estime. So I'm fine with all that as long as that threshold doesn't get crossed. It's his number one feature is him delivering the punishment. So I love all this as long as that part remains. And here's the other thing about that part remaining. Even if the guy weighed like 20 pounds, I don't know the number. Or maybe it just turned from fluffy into muscle. I don't know how that works. I'm not a scientist. Okay. But what I'm saying is we have guys that could do a bunch of different things. Like, I don't need Audric Estime to be like Diggs and to be like JD Price. Like, I like that they all have their own thing and his thing's running people over. So just maintain that. And the other thing is it's a mentality with him more than anything else. And I love and respect that. It's a mentality. Very early on in his career, you knew Estime was different. The way he spoke, the way he talked, the way he carried himself. He has a different mentality, a killer's mentality. And I love the hell out of it. So just don't cross that line of thinning up to the point where you're not delivering hits. Good thought, though, Nick. Jay Lehman, one of the nicest guys I've never met. And I mean that genuinely. I think the offense is set up to succeed this season if they execute. I want to see who emerges on the defense. That's where we need somebody to take the next step. I was thinking about this, folks. I was asking myself, in regards to the offense, I mean, I agree it's on the upswing majorly. And if you were like, okay, well, defend me that position, why is the offense on the upswing? Here's the most simple way to put it. And I think it's just the most logical. In my opinion, last year, the two areas holding the offense back the most was the depth and the situation in the quarterback room, and combined with the depth and the situation in the wide receiver room. Or by depth, I should say no depth. It's like diving in a 1-foot pool. So those were my two biggest issues with the offense last year, were those two groups. Both of them, I feel 100% better about 1 year later. Like, issue identified, and then they pursued solutions. And now both of those groups are in a way, way, way healthier position now. So that is fantastic. Now, when I think to myself, knowing all that, and then trusting at tight end, they're going to figure it out because it's Notre Dame tight end. The running back room, we already covered how great we all feel about that. So when I ask myself, what could go wrong to make this offense not be good and emerge the way I think, there's a couple things. One would be another catastrophic injury at quarterback that makes you reshift things. So that's the number one nightmare, and it happened to us last year. So that's the number one nightmare that kind of ruins a lot of what you're trying to do here, changes the dynamic. Nobody can do anything about it if it's injury. What are you going to do? But I'm just mentioning it. Here's the second thing that could go wrong is I'm kind of glad Ohio State is where it is in the schedule, because if it does take a few weeks for this offense to all get on the same page and click with the new personnel, some new terminology, Parker learning the ropes or whatever, the offensive line gelling, like all of that, if it's going to take a few weeks, at least you don't have Ohio State right away week one. Theoretically, you'll be able to work those issues out and then be in a better spot to have a fully functioning, smoothly integrated unit for Ohio State. So one would be the everything blending together with the movement in the offseason and a lot of new. So that's a part of that too. And again, that's a big part of the spring mission, is to get everybody on the, like, you got to start somewhere. So with all these changes and Parker coming over, that's a big priority of the spring, to just get everybody on the same page. Simple stuff, guys. Terminology, the playbook, timing, rhythm, all that stuff that makes an offense hum. You got to build to get there. That's what spring is for. So, and it looks like so far so good on what they're trying to do. Here's a practical thing that I think could kind of make this offense cave in on itself. Follow me here. We already went over all these positions. I love wide receivers going to be, I don't know if it's going to be a top 10 unit. I'm not saying that, but you have actual bodies and talent that could be competitive and have a real wide receiver, a real representative top college football situation there at wide receiver. We didn't have that last year. We didn't have a Division I wide receiver room, and it's the University of Notre Dame. And I had a very hard time accepting that this was Notre Dame and that's what you're running out there, wide receiver. Like, it was a huge indictment of what came before that put us in that practical position. And it was abhorrent, and I'm glad we're through it. But here's what I think could cave in on this offense. If the middle of the offensive line doesn't hold their own, that's a huge freaking problem. That's a huge problem. That can cave in everything you're trying to do on the running game and the passing game that we all want to see take another step. Like, we all feel good about the towers of terror there at tackle. We feel good. Fisher, all might be the best offensive lineman in the country. So I feel good about those twin towers on the edges. But if we're weak on the inside and you're giving up pressure, everything else is screwed. And you're just wasting these good tackles out there. And if you're just getting pinched inside and pushed around and the pocket's moving early, if there's no running room because of it, you're screwed. You're screwed. So the interior, those guards and centers, got to get it right. Christophe Carell, Spindler, Lug, Schraub, like, whatever. I don't care the name. I don't care the name. Hold up at the line of attack. I can't have all this caving in on us, in this environment, in this situation. So that's my concern with the only way I don't see that offense is catastrophic injury. I do think they're going to blend together enough. But that interior offensive line, if they struggle, it's going to mess up everything you want to see this offense be. That's my issue with the offense. And again, it might not happen. I don't want it to happen. I just have tackles with issues with the spots other than the tackles as far as I'm, excuse me, I'm just not 100% sure I'm going to sit there and go, okay, I trust all this right away. They could develop that, and I want them to, but right away, I'm looking in the middle there, and I'm a little nervous. And it ain't going to show against Navy. Ain't going to show against Tennessee State, who's going to be outsized on the lines. NC State, that could get a little interesting. CMU, not so much. Ohio State, you're going to figure out real fast if you can't hold up in the middle in that ball game. I'm getting about 6 months ahead of myself, but I can't help it. This stuff excites me. All right, we're going to finish the roll call, get to a couple phone calls. I see a couple people. Here we go. Mark Holzum, linebacker unit must improve with Freeman being a pass linebacker. This has been a disappointment. All right. On the plus side with the linebackers, here's the plus side to trying to figure this out. I feel like, unlike defensive line, there's more bodies I would feel okay running out there to try to find a blend of experience and young athleticism or whatever in that linebacker group. Like guys like Callie and Sneed, very athletic, but not exactly consistent enough that I felt the coaches trusted them to have a bigger role. Like how can we blend what we like out of like Marist and Bertrand with some of these young, more athletic guys that could just make more plays those guys just physically aren't going to make? The other thing that can help a lot with the linebackers is some of the scheming and the timing and the blitz calls. What the call is, what the situation is when you're making the call, and then who you're deploying to go make the play. I saw enough last year that makes me think you need to rethink all of that. All of that. When you're blitzing, what kind of blitz, what you want it to look like, who's deploying it. Because too many times I saw them not get home like a bad kid in high school not paying attention to curfew. They just didn't get home in time. Over and over and over and over. I see Marist's fancy hairdo blowing in the wind a half a second late. I don't know what caused that, but all year that was the feeling. Wow, I saw what they were trying to do. If it was only a half second earlier, we wouldn't have got burned for 40 yards. So I need you to re-look at all of that. The scheming, the situations, the timing, the calls, how you want them to operate the call, and who's doing it. I would love to find a way to blend what we like with an older experience but less athletic guy like Bertrand with Collie and Sneed or somebody younger, Osbury. I don't know. Try things. That's what spring's for. That's what the early part of fall camp in August is for. The group was not terrible, but it needs to be better. And you know what they might, I don't want to say they're lacking this, but with safety and linebackers, maybe you'll agree with me. The best safeties and linebackers that I could think of in history in college and the NFL felt the game. They didn't necessarily think the game. Guys like that had a feeling. They just knew where you had to be and when and how to get your guys there. Had a feel for the flow of the game, flow of plays, feeling like you know what's coming, where to be, where to position your other guys. Think of like Kyle Hamilton just knew kind of where to be. He had an inclination for that. That's why he's a special NFL talent. You can't teach the ball intuition Kyle Hamilton has back there to just feel where he needs to be and range over there like a deer and do what he has to do. The physical part is the physical part, but so much more of it is just the feel of the game and the intuition the best players at these positions have to know where to be and get your guys in spot. You know who else was great at that? Like Manti was great at that. He ended up with all those interceptions that last year because he just felt where to be. I don't even think you can teach it to that extent. Teo just kind of knew where to be, where to drop in a soft spot in the zone, and the quarterback could throw it right to you. I just, that's a feel thing. Maybe we even Drew Tranquil, a smaller guy who nobody's going to say is the fastest, most athletic dude. He ended up having a knack of just knowing where to be and being sound, and just, you always knew you could rely on him to be exactly where you needed to be. And that's why he's an NFL player. I didn't see enough of that out of the linebackers. Who's that guy that has that natural feel and can back it up? I felt like maybe that was missing. Like, I need at least one guy that I just love 100% running around, making a bunch of plays and setting all the other guys up to be where they need to be. So I agree with you. And then the fact that this is like supposed to be, it's like the defense and then Freeman's position and all that. I get that, but the guy's got so much to worry about. I don't know how much that's like a direct thing of Freeman being like, I'm a defense guy, I got to get in that, those meetings. I don't know. But the good news is I feel like the recruiting there's been really solid, and you have a lot of options of guys you can move in and out, try different rotations and blends of guys to get production. Play with that this spring. Move guys in and out. Switch them into different linebacker positions. Try a blending of older and young. Like, you have to try it because it wasn't good enough last year. So you got to do something. So that's my thought on that. Okay. Oh boy, you guys have some good questions. Couple more comments. We're getting to the calls. 845-707, going to be the first two up. Pat, good morning. Happy Monday. Keep fighting a good fight. Go Irish and go Sox. I am not prepared for baseball depression yet. My White Sox, it's death by 162. Slow summer cuts every year. But there I am. I don't miss a game. 162. If it's a day game, I record it, watch it at night. If it's a night game, it's on the TV, and I just get mad. It is what it is, folks. Drunk Vigo, he's finishing his workout. Oh, get after it, baby. Lift them weights. Eric, good morning, Eric. Eric's just finishing up a cross-examination. Man, I almost feel bad. I don't want to interrupt somebody doing that important real-life work for my Notre Dame content, but I'll take it. Appreciate it. What do we have here from Notre Dame? 2164. He's here regularly, and I appreciate that. Sophomore backers. And for the love of God, Maris need to step up. Also, if our red zone defense doesn't step up this year, I'm afraid I might break my TV. Oh, yeah, go Irish. Here's the thing. We just covered the sophomore linebackers. We covered Listen, here's the other thing I'm open to. Tell me if I'm wrong on this. I am dead serious. It crossed my mind that I'm supremely tuned into what Maris does because his hair is so obvious. You know where he is more than anybody else because you see that mane flying around back there. Like, I'm open to the idea that I name him specifically more than other guys, even though Bertrand looks slow half the time, but people say he's always where he usually needs to be, and you don't know what you're missing until you don't want him out there. Fine. But Maris, I just see the hair flying all over every week, but never getting home. It's enough to make you lose your mind. The hair flies around and there's a lot of running. It just doesn't get home. Are you too good for your home? Just get home. My God. And then the red zone defense. Here's two things I'm going to bring up. One is third down defensive efficiency. I looked it up over the weekend for an article I'm writing. 43rd, I think Notre Dame was in getting off the field on third downs. I think we would all accept that for Notre Dame's defense and the standards we have, 43rd isn't what you're looking for as far as getting off the field on third downs. If they can work on that even a little bit, it would go a huge way to changing the narrative. In the red zone, I've been saying this ever since the year ended. I am genuinely, completely perplexed at how a defense last year that had the talent amount Notre Dame did. No, it wasn't Georgia, but Notre Dame had a really solid group of talent there and NFL guys on that defensive front. The fact that you would end up second to last in the whole country and allowing touchdowns once a team gets in your red zone it doesn't line up to me. Like it just doesn't make sense to me with the talent we had that you could be so decent between the 20s and then they get in there and you just ole and let them go right in and score a touchdown. Like on that, I need Golden to look at what scheme and personnel you're running down there because something went terribly wrong with whatever you thought your plan was down there in the red zone. Throw it in the garbage and light the garbage on fire because it wasn't good enough, Al. So Al needs to get it figured out or Al be having a stroke every Saturday. Get off the field. They could kick threes all day. In modern college football, anytime you make a guy kick a 3 instead of a 7, that's a win. Anytime you make them kick a 3 instead of a 7 in your red zone, you won in modern football. Notre Dame's talent being second to last in that stat last year, I can't handle it. I can't handle it. So a few tweaks there, and I think you're in a way better spot and the whole dynamics changed. So that's what I got to see happen. Cousin Luke, I don't know if you're trolling me with your history. I don't know whether you're trolling me or being legitimate. Cousin Luke, Drake Bowen enters the mix of linebacker. He's a future All-American. I just come in from Cousin Luke, who has a history of trolling me and being sarcastic and trying to get me worked up. I don't know whether you're being legitimate or you're trolling me again, trying to say nobody we have is any good. I don't want to be this way, but Cousin Luke, you got to admit your history on this show leads me to wonder where you're coming from every time you say something. Oh, man. Cousin Luke again. It's not fair. We have to play without safeties or a pass rush in 23, but whatever. Cousin Luke, you just hit two of my biggest concerns on the board. You just hit Tua, add stopping the run. Add stopping the run in there too. But you're on it. I mean, you're hitting it. Always good to have a Rudiger. Angela, good morning. Good morning, Angela and Andy and Hank. I want to see them at the blue and gold. Oh, I'm glad this got brought up, Angela. I wanted to let people know. I'm playing around with the idea of just having my own Always Irish blue and gold tailgate. It's free parking, not as crowded. I'll fly the flag. I'll have a big flag. People see where. And then I'm just going to post where I'm parked at on Twitter and then let people know and then just come by. I'm going to have coolers of beer, a bunch of people there. Come by, say hi, park by me, walk by me, whatever. I think I'm going to do that. And I got a good group of people going. Well, there's a couple dozen people at least I know that would be there. And then people can come and go all morning. Stay tuned on that. I'm hammering out some details, but I think that's the way it's going to go. I'm just going to have my own tailgate, and we'll just do it that way. And we'll have coolers of beer, some music, whatever. Let's get it going. Uh-oh. Dr. John, good morning from under about 16 inches of snow in Montana. Isn't it supposed to be spring? Not out in that beautiful wild country you're in yet. Oh, look at this, Kevin. Tuning in from Canada. Love you, Kev. Good to see you here, man. You usually don't make this time slot. Love to have you. Connor, good to see you. TXND, what's going on? Christopher Morgan, the Monday crew. Here we go. V1 rotate V2. Just put John down as my emergency contact. That's good. I like that. It's like, should you call my wife? No. Should you call my mom? No. Call John. 312-900-8815. Call Johnny if you need to be seen at the doctor. Okay, I'll figure it out. Luke Collins, good morning. Andrew Gilmore. Yeah, talk about Justin Scott. The DN recruit from Chicago visited 5-star Freeman's the lead recruiter. It's on Freeman to close them. Here's the callers. I promise I'm almost at the end. We got a couple donations, then it's your time. Here's the thing. Here's what I like. I believe it looks like Notre Dame and Georgia staying close to home. This kid played in the Catholic League I was from in Chicago. I'm very familiar with this school. The whole league is my league, that Southside Chicago Catholic League. Like, I love the competition. All that stuff lines up. It's close to me, close to home, literally. I want to see it work out. You're going against Georgia. These are two opposing worldviews. How Georgia operates things, how Notre Dame operates things. Here's one thing I like, though. Take it for what you want. Kids are kids. We've been burned by recruiting enough to know kids are going to kid. But the guy did say, I love my mama, and I'm a mama's boy, and it would be a big deal for me to be able to be by her where she could see me play and all that. He said that over the weekend. Who had that? Singer? Somebody, Blue and Gold? Somebody had that. And him saying that, I've been saying for a long time, the key to Notre Dame landing the ultra elite guys in the modern era of NIL, where we're not playing the game the way other people are, cheating the corner on NIL, family. Family's the answer. Mom and dad are the answer. Valuing the education, making the kid look at the big picture, not the short picture. Those values and the education, and not going for quick money, but the big picture, what this all means. That's the answer. So the fact that the guys talk about mom that way, I like it. Yeah, exactly. Tax ND, I just hit on that. He's a mama boy, wants to stay close to home. Good for us. Yeah, good for us. He wants to do that. But if $1 million comes in a duffel bag in the middle of the night, I might think Athens and the warm weather sounds pretty good to me. Like, that's the issue. That's the issue. I love my mama too, but she might even understand if I get $1 million, I'll love you on the phone. I'll love you on the phone. I ain't going to hug you after every home game, but for $1 million in a duffel bag free, I'll holler at you. For $1 million in a duffel bag, I'll fly you from Chicago to Athens to come see me play because I got $500,000 in a duffel bag. These are the real world issues we're swimming in. Oh, man. Here we go. What else? Let's get to a couple of the donations. The format. Good to see you, Brucey. Go subscribe to his channel. Hope everybody's well. I don't know if it's because other things been going on personally, but as much as I want to, I'm having a tough time getting excited for spring ball. You got to find what you could find to highlight. Like, that's the thing, because it isn't much, but it's some meat on the bone compared to, like, in the middle of the summer, you talk about recruiting and what you want to happen. There's not much going on. At least we have something. Go subscribe to Bruce. Really good guy. Good content. Check it out. Oh, yeah, Kevin. It is like diving in a 1-foot pool. I don't know what else to say, man. All right, let's get down to the donations and get to the calls. I don't want to make people wait. Eric, $20 holler. Okay, I'll get the money started. Man, look at this guy wheeling and dealing, doing lawyer stuff. He's doing a cross-examination and then putting on the headphone, listening to me yell about, but then goes back to the cross-examination. Eric, if I ever have legal trouble, I'm hiring you. We're on the same page, buddy. Thanks for the $20 holler. Appreciate that. Christopher with the $5 holler, and I appreciate it. Last year, Sam Hartman had QBR 76.2 at Wake with this stupid mesh. I predict with ND's better talent, it'll be 84, 86, plus another 10 TDs. Got to have that offensive line hold up in the middle, don't we? Like, I've seen the guy's arm, and it's just like a flick of the wrist. It's just the highlight. It's just a flick of the wrist, and it's just woo, and it flies. And I'm sitting there, and I'm saying, how pathetic is this? Me, as a Notre Dame college football fan, am mesmerized with my mouth open on the floor, my jaw dropping, seeing this beautiful high spiral in practice, and it lands. Wait till you hear this. I'm going to blow your freaking minds on a Monday. Imagine the shock of me to see our quarterback throw a big, tall, deep ball, and it goes really high with a lot of power and a tight spiral. Wait for the best part. I'm going to blow your mind with what happened next. I saw it in the practice film. and where it landed was in our guy's arms while he was running forward. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable to see a deep pass be operated and completed the way every other team in college football can do it. It's sad to me that I see Hartman throw this beautiful deep ball and I just go, oh my God, Deshaun Kaiser's back. How many decades ago was that? Really don't mean to get cranked up on a Monday, but it shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be the Christmas gift of a lifetime to see our quarterback throw a real life deep ball that looks good in practice. But that's where I'm at. That's our existence. And I hope we're coming out of it. Look at this. I don't know what happened. People just jangle their coin purses loose. The money's coming. I'm sorry. It took me a while to scroll to it. $5 olive from Paul Conley. Good morning to you, John the Great. Whew, man, you're going to have to tell people I didn't pay you to pay me to say that. Support John with super chats. He deserves it. I'm not going to say I don't. I'll take it. Oh, look at this. Canadian dollars. What's that crossover rate, Kevin? I appreciate you, man, but I got to ban you from calling in. When Kevin calls in from Canada, the lines on my phone thing, it costs like 27 times what it does take an American call just to cross that border. So, Kevin, I'm sorry. But that's about a $30 hour that I appreciate. I really do. Very nice. Thank you. Heart Foundation in the house. Will he be hard again? Well, I don't know. That's a personal question. I'm not going to answer for you. You're just going to have to figure it out. $4.99, $5 holler. Did we ever address the Swarbrick New York Times article? It seemed like his opinion was out of date. I did address that one of the shows last week. And what I said was, he's saying things that are true, but they're also completely obvious and not shocking to anybody who's been paying attention. All the things Jack and John were complaining about last week on the media tour, duh, like they're obvious. They shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, but it's the exact way you knew this was going to go the minute they legalized NIL. Everybody knew this was going to be manipulated and played with. So it's just kind of like you're stating the obvious. And the other thing is, what's the answer? You got a new NCAA president coming in, the former governor, I believe, Massachusetts, Baker. And he's talking about transparency. We need contracts for NIL. We need accountability. We need to know what's going on in these transactions. You need pen to paper. He's talking about implementing some of that. Great. That's an effort to try and chill some of this out. I still say, though, teams that want to work around this are going to work around anything because this pay-for-play has been around since before I was alive. There are already systems in place to do it. So, we're making a rule. You can only have a contract for $500,000 for a guy per year. That's the most you could get for NIL for anybody. Great. I signed the contract for $500,000. And then the other $500,000 from an SEC school shows up under mom's porch in a duffel bag. And guess what? I now got $1 million from NIL, but only half of it's on the paperwork. That's what this is going to be. It's very easy to see that. The only way you work around this workaround is if this new NCAA president really wanted to hammer this, here's what you do. You hire a bunch of people to be moles and to sniff around all the boards and sniff around what's going on with these collectives. Lay low, but take note of things. Get in the inside and be able to actually nail people doing this with evidence. That is the only way it's going to stop. And I don't see that happening. That's a lot of effort. They haven't been willing to put it in yet. The NCAA has this big regulatory arm. Half the crap they do are teams blowing the whistle on themselves. Then the NCAA comes in and starts slapping on the wrist, giving the death point. I mean, whatever they're going to do or not do, it isn't because the NCAA is good at their job and finds these egregious happenings. They are clueless and want to be clueless. They're probably mad when a school self-reports a violation because then they got to do work. So I don't know what the answer is, because to me, there's easy walkarounds to any of this regulatory stuff. Whatever amount beyond what is allowed just comes the old-fashioned way, and you're in the same problem. Not trying to be negative. I just don't see an easy answer out of it. I just don't. All right. Caught up on that. Come on, Newt. Newt, Rock, Knee, 6-6. John, if we go 6-6, this is going to be a very entertaining show. I'm not going to say it's going to be good. I'm not going to say it's going to be fun. It's going to be a very entertaining situation. Let's just leave it at that. All right. Let's check out a couple phone calls. 845, make it come alive. What's up on a Monday?
Hey, John. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well. How are you, man? I see on here you called back in October. It's been a while. Thanks for calling back.
Actually, I usually call from the 737 Texas number, but I'm actually calling from my actual number, not my work line today.
Oh, there we go. I thought that was a big gap. Well, what's on your mind, man? Any thoughts on spring? How it's going so far? Who needs to step up for Notre Dame to have a great year? What's on your mind?
So many thoughts, so many things, Notre Dame. You know that.
Let's go.
Like I said, I'll give you a call with some numbers and try to speak to some things. It's hard during the season to do that. But I got to tell you, I look at I see positives, right? So I want to try to stay in the off season. I'll try to stay positive for the most part. But
do you know who you're talking to? I'm not going to tell somebody not to be a glass half empty, as long as the half empty part is logical, not just a crap on Notre Dame. But I'm fine with it.
I think you got to look at it again. Hey, listen, look at kind of what you're seeing now in terms of changes. I don't know what Gerard Parker is ultimately going to do, but I do like already some things that are being, like Tyree getting put into the slot and working with receivers, all year last year.
Yep.
When we're running him up the middle against all the big bodies.
Yep.
And he's just falling back like he's 50 pounds. It didn't work. You know what I mean? And everybody was always saying
it makes all the practical sense in the world on every single way I think about this makes sense. Spreading out the carries among the other running backs that I think are more natural kind of bangers, and that makes sense. So you're lightening the load there, which will spread those carries out. Then wide receiver, we're looking for a guy that's kind of maybe more established, that knows his way around. And that's a guy you could plug right in. Now he gets a chance to get more touches in an environment that he's more productive, getting the ball in space and making moves. It helps the wide receivers out. It helps dissolve the carries among the running back room. I love it on all fronts.
Well, I think the takeaway from that ultimately is hey, listen, obviously Reese is not there anymore, but I think my biggest complaint was with Reese was always trying to press his system onto the players. And now we're trying to make the players who play in the right ways and do the right things fit kind of like into the system. So, hey, Tyree's probably not an up the middle back. So let's get him into the slot. Let's do all this. Let's use the players' talents to where we need them. And I don't think Reese ever did that. Reese was always kind of, we'll say, almost a little snobby in that regard. So that's my positive. I'm already seeing benefit from changes, that are being made. And I like to see that because, and I'll go back to things that you've said a few times on the show. Listen, the offense being better, spending more time on the field, doing all those things is going to make the defense better. So I think the defense is the question this year, but with the offense being better and us being able to drive, I saw a few people talking about South Carolina game second half. Yeah, second half of the South Carolina game, the offense got much better as well. Defense wasn't gassed the whole time, and they were able to do a little bit better. So
can I ask you really on the offense? Can I ask you this on the offense? Am I over worrying, being a little concerned with the interior offensive line? Like, I love the Twin Towers at tackle. I'm just have a little anxiety that they're going to hold up the middle enough for us to be able to do everything we want to set up in both the run and passing game. Is that a fair worry, or do you think they'll be just fine?
I think they'll be fine. I think, may take a few games for them to gel up as it did last year.
Fortunately,
but we
they
were
have
in a much worse spot.
You could do that for a few games without the season being ruined. That's the benefit this year. You have a few weeks if that happens.
Yeah, and you think about the talent we're going to be going up to the first few games, you should be able to get that handled. Whereas I think we had a much rougher start this year. But again, you look at kind of people are bagging on Hartman again. Last time I called in, I was talking about the difference between Hartman and Buckner, and although I'm a Buckner fan, we had to, you had to plan for the worst, hope for the best, and plan for the worst with Hartman. But man, you look at what Hartman did, and if you look at statistically his career stats, from when he started to when he finished, I mean, every year his overall passer rating got better. I mean, he was 125, 138, 138, 148, 159. And you look at his completion percentage up every year, 55, 56, 58, 58, 63. That is with, and this is perspective. Somebody was talking about it in the chat before, but in terms of O-line for Wake Forest last year, in terms of sacks allowed, was ranked 105. Where compared to Notre Dame was 40, and all that was mostly in the beginning of the year. We got solid at the end of the year. So imagine what Hartman does in a
that's a good point
offense.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then does it with a good offensive line. It's going to be so much better. So I mean, everybody's bagging on what Hartman did at Wake, but I don't think you can compare the talent that was in front of him with the talent he's going to have in front of him this year.
But the other issue here's the pushback I have. When I have like a complaint like that about some of the interceptions, seems like he threw a lot of, Adam, I take that heat sometimes. But the thing I got to get people to understand is this isn't all neutral. It also has to do with how much better is he than what we had or have. Like, it's not just how good is he the best player in the country. It also has to do with he could not be the best quarterback in the country, but make Notre Dame a lot better and be an upgrade. Like, there's a lot of room in the middle there. And there's no doubt to me he offers all of the things Notre Dame fans have asked and not had recently. How about a guy that could just throw a deep ball in rhythm and a spiral and hit a guy in stride? How about that once in a while? Like, I mean,
He was 38 touchdowns last year with 12 interceptions. His passer rating was 159.4 behind a line that was ranked 105 out of 131 in sacks allowed. So, is this an improvement? Yes, 1,000%. Like we're definitely going to be better off. Plus, with the running backs behind him, you can't compare the running backs that he had. I think he had some good receivers, but you can't compare the running back team that he had behind him to Estime, to Diggs, and ultimately, I'm hoping Jadarius Price is going to be a beast as well. So, again, I think we're looking pretty good.
You know what? Hey, let me ask you this. And it's weird you brought that up, or maybe you saw it on the screen. I just pinned a chat, and it was on JD Price coming back off the injury. Yeah. And Michael says he's going to be the best overall running back Indy's had. Reggie Bush like home run style ability, and he's a special guy. My question is, where do you see him falling in this year in that running back group where you already like what they're doing, and then you move, you move Tyree out, but you have Diggs and Estime. How does JD Price fit into this? Like, where does he find his role in all that as a younger guy coming off the injury, but has a lot of upside? I don't know where that's going to fall. I genuinely don't.
He's going to be that. And listen, they were able to fit Tyree in there when they didn't really need to. Again, they were trying to get him some touches. They want his hands on the ball.
But some of it seemed awkward. Don't you agree? Some of it seemed awkward where they would give him carries on plays where I'm like, that's not the guy I want running that play. They're not using him right. That happened a lot. It felt like they got him the ball just to get him the ball, but then the play wasn't to benefit him the most.
I don't think that Reese had it planned that way. Like, it wasn't best player to be in that position for the play that was at hand. I think they had a set of plays, And for this package, it was within this part of the game or in this set of plays that we're planning on running, because everybody has their first number of plays that they want to run that is pretty much set. And I think, like, hey, when it was Tyree's rotation, here was the play. And so, if it was an up the middle play and Tyree was the one in there, he was the one that got it.
Yeah.
And again, that was kind of Reese. That was the problem I had with Reese, was him kind of having a set or set up and not properly making adjustments. And so again, I think that's going to be different this year, or at least I'm hoping it'll be different. It seems like Parker is going to put the talent where it needs to be when it needs to be there. And so that's I think ultimately what we're going to see. I know you asked before, like, who do I think needs to step up the most this year? I think there's a lot of people that need to step up, but who do I think needs to step up the most is Lorenzo Styles. I mean, his freshman year just flashed pretty good. And last year, I think you say it all the time, he had the yips. And man, he dropped so many in the hands that kid needs to step up this year big time.
Yep. And that was on my list. Just because going into last year, that was a guy that was supposed to emerge and really establish himself and take another step and become a leader of that group. And it really just didn't happen. And it feels very Golson Wimbushy to me, where I feel like the physical traits are there, but their mind got clouded by too many things moving at the same time or something. And they just froze up and couldn't play right. Like, I saw that in both of those quarterbacks. I hope he knocks out of it, because here's the issue. If he doesn't, he's going to get passed up real fast with these wide receivers coming behind him. So you better get on it, because he's going to get passed up if he doesn't.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, I'll finish up, because I got a few things I got to run and do, but wanted to call him real quick while I had some time. But like I said, I'm looking forward to see what Hartman can do with the Notre Dame offensive line in front of him. I think it's going to look good. Yep. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit more of a pro package than what he's used to. He's going to have a much better line. Certainly the tackles are going to be better than he's ever had in his career.
Yep.
And I think you're going to drastically see with that improved offensive line, you're going to drastically see his interceptions come down while his QBR and his ultimate rating come up.
Yeah. And man, that would just be so nice to see. And then it's just a win for everybody if that's how it plays out. Notre Dame gets the benefit of having a Hartman, and that helps jumpstart all these wide receivers, having a guy that could get him the ball. All that lines up great. Notre Dame's in a position to have a good year with an offense that looks representative of what we see winning playoff games for once. And then on the flip side, I mean, let's be real about this. There's a give and a take. Hartman came here because of the NFL. He wants to play in that more pro system and have a bunch of tape up, put up good numbers, and then make a career out of this. This could be a win-win for everybody, and so far, so good. What do you make of the quarterback competition? Is it really one, or is it just Hartman, and we all want Buckner to be great and be plugged in and engaged, but it's Hartman, or am I off on that?
If Hartman's not number one, he's not coming to Notre Dame, just my opinion. You know what I mean? He could have gone to a lot of places, chose Notre Dame. Again, I think there has to be a quarterback competition per se.
Yeah, you have
because it has to be.
But it's like what message are you sending if you don't even act like there's one? Like, I just feel like, because you can't. Here's the thing. You can't do that just for the most important position and then in all the other ones be like, no, you guys fight it out. Like, you have to have a competition, because you can't have an operation where you don't. So you have to call it that. Even if everybody around knows what's going on, you got to call it that. You just have to.
Yeah, no, you have to have the competition. And I think Buckner's going to give him a ton of competition. But again, when you look at Buckner's body of work, whether you look at the number of starts, you can look his touchdown to pick six ratio. Like, you can look at a ton of things. There's no way that Hartman. And again, I've watched a little bit of it, and I know it's just spring ball. But Hartman seems like he's got some pretty nice touch. He's dropping them right in there on the corner of the end zone.
Yep, that's
right
the
over
one.
His shoulder.
That's the one I saw too. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I sat there and I saw that, and I looked at it on Twitter a few times, and I was just thinking, I'm enjoying this way too much. It's just a normal pass at a spring practice, but it's so beautiful to me. That's where we're at.
Oh, yeah.
That's where we're at.
I think he's going to look good. I think with the offensive line he's going to have in front of him, it's going to be good. I think Buckner is going to give him some, but I think Buckner is going to learn a ton behind Hartman. And I hope he does, and I hope he accepts it, because to be able to have that, which is, again, top programs that have great quarterbacks, that have good recruits coming in, the older guys are teaching the younger guys. And because of what we've had over the last year, the disarray in our quarterback room, we haven't had that type of process to where the older guys who are more established are teaching the younger guys. Like Ian Book had nobody to teach. I mean, these guys were, I mean, who was he teaching? Pine at 5'1"? You know what I mean? Like it wasn't there. We just didn't have the talent. Reese wasn't getting it, and they weren't developing it. But also too, and I think you brought it up a few times, Book was, you know, everybody that came to Notre Dame, they're statistically, they didn't do better every year. They got worse.
Yeah, it's the ultimate.
And that's obviously an issue.
Listen, man, especially with quarterbacks, that is the biggest red flag I could imagine, is that you have a handful of quarterbacks. Every single one of their overall stats went down the longer they played for you. That is a red flag, dude. Something was wrong there. That all of those guys, the second year they're starters, the numbers all went down. That is the biggest red flag of everything you have going on, I could imagine. Talent evaluation, proper development, supporting them with what you need around them, with talent, all of it wasn't where you need it to be. Hopefully we're on the other side of that.
Yeah, and now we got a quarterback coach, and it looks like an offensive coordinator that is going to, like I say, put the talent where the talent needs to be, when it needs to be there, hopefully make great adjustments. And I think if we're able to do that, it's going to be a huge switch, again, plus Hartman there. Like if we were able to do that last year, I think we would have looked better.
Yeah.
Doing that this year with Hartman at the helm, I think it's going to be great. But again, I think Tommy Rees was, like I said, snobbish. Like he was so in on his system that he thought people should just be able to plug into play in his system, as opposed to putting the talent where it needed to be. And I don't think that was the way to do it. I guess there's certain ways that you can do that, but at Notre Dame, when you have again, just a varying amount of, you know, and again, you could just look at quarterbacks. When you look at what Cone was to what ultimately Buckner was to what Pine was, everybody had a completely different skill set in terms of what they actually brought to the game. And there has to be some type of consistency between the quarterbacks that you're bringing in, because you want to have a specific program or a specific offense that you're running. So these guys need to fit in to that offensive type in terms of what they bring to the table. But we still got to be able to put the ball in the best player's hands. And I think that's why, again, they're trying to get Tyree into the slot. They give him more touches, get him on the outside.
I love that.
I don't want to see him run up the middle.
Yeah, no, that's not where his skill set is best served. And the idea with all of this, here's my thought. When I'm looking at how I would set up an offense, or like if I'm Parker and then I'm like the new guy and now I'm in charge to design all this out. When I'm sitting there thinking of this, here's what's guiding my principal thought as I go down this thought experiment is, what is going to maximally stress the defense? Whatever that answer is what I want to do as much as I can. And if that means having all your most electric guys out there in different positions, like the running backs and confusion and multiple and all that, what is going to tax and stress a defense the most? Having to worry about Tyree in the slot, that's going to be a problem. So I really love that. I love that dynamic. Anything else, my friend? I want to get some more people on, but you always have such good thoughts. I got to let you go, you know?
No, hey, man, let these guys on. Like I said, I love reading the chat. I love how everybody kind of ribs each other a little bit as well.
I know.
I chimed in early in.
Even some of the trolls, I have a soft spot for some of the trolls, because even if you're trolling me, if you're here every day and you're that loyal to troll, I value that. I honestly do. It means something to me. It does.
Well, the troll points help people bring out and justify their great points as well.
Yeah, so, yeah.
There's a place for everybody, and that's why I said when I first signed on this morning, I said, you know, good morning to the always Irish family, because you know what, in terms of all the calls and all the flings that you can jump on, this is the one that I think is the close knit. So John, and we appreciate you for that. So I'll let you bounce, man. But listen, have a great day. We'll be calling it again soon.
Thank you, my friend. Give me a call anytime. Have a good one, buddy. See ya. What a nice guy. Always has good thoughts. This person called earlier and dropped off. I'm going to bump them up again because I don't know what happened to their call. And then we got a couple 707s coming up too. 574. That's a Notre Dame area code, and I know it when I see it.
What's up, man? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Oh, crystal clear phone lines. I really like that. Thanks for calling. Always good to see a local number to South Bend there. What's on your mind, my friend? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. This is my first time actually calling.
Well, welcome in, my friend. It's an open platform, and we just let it rip.
Yeah. This is the Golden Playbook, by the way. Remember? I don't know if you remember.
Yeah. What's going on, man?
What's going on?
Not much. What do you think about spring ball? How do you think it's going? Anything stand out to you? Confidences, concerns? What's up?
For the most part, I think I'm pretty confident. I watched some of the videos or whatever.
Yeah.
And man, Estimate looks really good.
God, that six-pack. I'm so jealous of that six-pack.
Yeah.
So got Yeah, go ahead.
So what's your thoughts on the CJ Carr thing?
What CJ Carr thing? There better not be a thing, is my thought. There shouldn't be a thing. What do you mean a thing?
Well, I had heard that he visited other schools.
All right, here's what I'm told on that. Here's what I was told on that. I don't like it when guys that are committed to us visit other places. I don't like that. However, in the modern era, a lot of coaches don't say, if you commit to us, you can't take other visits, because then you're never going to get a commitment from a top guy, because what they like to do is be wined and dined and courted all over and have everybody bow down and tell them how great they are, how many cars and houses their mom will get if they go there. So those guys like that song and dance, and I would too. Everybody likes attention. I'd like it too. Here's what I was told. That wasn't a recruiting trip, him going there being recruited by Snake Jimbo. He was competing in a 7-on-7 skills event, and he has a 7-on-7 team he kind of travels with, and that was where the group was going. But the Texas A&M recruiting guys are phrasing it, oh, he's here on a visit, and it makes it seem like it's a one-on-one recruiting thing when that really wasn't the full story. And everything I hear behind the scenes tells me he's Notre Dame. It's fine. Relax. Can I believe that? Well, I don't believe anything in recruiting anymore. I trust nothing in recruiting anymore until the fax comes in with their signature on it. If it's even still a fax, that's how old I am. We used to sit there and wait for the faxes to come into the office. I am not relaxing on anything. I don't care if a guy verbal commits for 10 years and his whole house is blue and gold. I don't care till that letter's signed.
Oh. Yeah, I heard that he visited Texas A&M, so I didn't know if he...
I'm being told not to worry about it. I'm being told not to worry about it. And so I just put that in the back of my mind, and we all move forward. The other question is, how much of... I would like to know what his thoughts are with Reese being gone, because that was a part of that relationship, and the offensive guy and the quarterback guy built that relationship. Now he's gone. What does that look like? Like that may be something to think about too.
Honestly, I'm kind of like I wish him the best, obviously, by Alabama. But honestly, I didn't really like him as much. Like, I don't know, his play calling sometimes pretty terrible at times,
Yeah, I mean, there are questions all about that. The efficiency, the use, the structure of the offense. And then the other problem I had is, though, you always had this issue of like Notre Dame's offense isn't modern enough. And then people would say, well, look at the talent that we're dealing with. Like, what do you expect out of it? Like, we could never really line that all up right with having great talent and a great vision and it all lines up. Something always seemed to be missing. So now I guess I credit Reese because he's in a position where the talent's never going to be lacking. And he could just run his vision out there at Alabama. We really see what it looks like, knowing there's top end talent everywhere at every position. And the other thing I'm most interested in with this is the ball game between Tommy Reese's Alabama team against Brian Kelly's LSU team. That is must-see TV for me. I am so intrigued in that matchup.
Oh yes, Tommy Reese versus Brian Kelly.
I mean, man, like life changes fast in college football, buddy. You know, we were sitting there. These are our Notre Dame guys, all these decades or whatever, and now they're both in the SEC going at each other. Like, man, life changes fast.
I just want to talk about Brian Kelly for a minute.
Oh, yeah, my favorite topic. What do you got?
So, man, Brian Kelly, for the most part, I think he did like pretty good, you know, in terms of like wins and all that.
What if I tell you that I want more than it being like pretty good? Is that wrong of me after a decade plus that I want a little more results than like pretty good? I admit it was like pretty good, but I need more than like pretty good. I need trophies in the case.
Yeah. National championships, right?
I just need stuff that matters. I need New Year's 6 wins. I need playoff bowl wins. I need Heisman's. Kelly did a lot of good things. He inherited a program that was in a bad spot, rebuilt some credibility, rebuilt the culture to where it's pretty stable. And I appreciate him for all that. Personally, I can't stand the man and his arrogance and everything about him. He's a slimy politician almost, is the way he comes off to me and the way he treats people. So I don't like that. And he just couldn't get over the hump, in my opinion, because he refused to recruit the way you have to at Notre Dame to get to that point. He wasn't putting in that work. So he could go to LSU and do really good things. It's a lot easier to recruit locally within a 200-mile radius. You don't have to fly everywhere. Grades are easier. They do better with more open with NIL. Kelly's putting himself in a chance to have real success. It was a good move for him to do what he did. But he did a lot of good things, but couldn't get over the hump, refused to change why he couldn't get over the hump, and then got shitty with people. See ya later. Have fun in Mardi Gras.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I personally don't think that. I mean, I know he's working with a lot of talent there at LSU. But I don't really think that he's going to. I personally don't think he's going to win a natty there.
Well, me neither, and that's for a lot of different reasons. Some of it having to do with him alone, some of it having to be with the conference he's in. I don't know. But he's going to get talent within a 200-mile radius. He's going to get talent. A lot of that LSU talent's going to LSU. No matter who that guy is, they're going to LSU. So Kelly's going to reap the benefits of all that and whatever. My guess would be you're going to see from Kelly at LSU what you saw from Kelly at Notre Dame to a little bit of a higher extent. I expect him to win a lot of games that he should win enough of the other games to keep you thinking something more is coming, and then it never comes. That's the world we lived in for 11 years? So I don't know, whatever. Good luck to him. It was a good business move on his part. It was a really good business move. And I just think the relationship was stale and just felt that way from Kelly out and everywhere else in. It was just a stale relationship. Time to move on.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm kind of glad he's gone.
Yeah,
he was pretty arrogant.
Me too. I didn't like the way he treated people, but here's the number one thing. Is lack of effort. I will never, ever forgive. If you give 100%, I know you give 100%, you don't get over the hump at Notre Dame, I'll thank you for your effort and then wish you luck wherever you go. Knowing that Kelly literally refused to get up and go recruit as hard as you need to, inexcusable to me. So that's my number one thing. The personality quirks, all that. If you're winning enough, fine. I cannot ever forgive you when I know you refuse to go work as hard as you needed to. I can't forgive that. So that's my issue.
Yeah, I think Marcus Freeman's definitely like I think like right now he's not really in the beginning of the season he wasn't as good, and I kind of give him a little credit towards like the end, like he
Here's what
bounced
I think.
back.
Here's what I think. I think last year was a challenge. And the people that ride on me for liking Marcus Freeman enough are going to say I'm giving him too much leeway here. There's a lot to do
Yeah.
when you get your first head coaching job and it's high profile at Notre Dame, all the way Kelly left like this was a huge national story. You had all of that coming into year one and doing all that. Then your quarterback goes down. He's already trying to learn on the fly. Then you dump the quarterback thing on top of him. And oh, by the way, even if the starting quarterback stayed healthy, you didn't know it was going to be good. You were in a red zone of risk no matter what, the way they entered the year last year. So then you had to deal with that quarterback issue. You also had to deal with the wide receiver room with two guys that had both legs because the previous staff couldn't recruit or develop or wouldn't recruit and develop. You had all that in the mix. Then you catch dumb loss early in the year and all that. Man, it really could have went off the rails. They could end up like it could have really went off the rails and it didn't. And I believe what they did against Clemson kind of reaffirmed to me there is a little bit of a higher ceiling with these guys with Freeman. Like whatever came in the mix to get them ready for that game showed me like that little sweet sauce. Kelly never beat a top 5 team that handily, ever. So I liked that.
Yeah, I definitely think Marcus Freeman is like he's not as experienced right now, but he's definitely I think he's got a great personality, and
yeah, it goes a long way.
He's actually putting in the work,
Yep.
He's actually putting in the work.
Yep. He is. And you can see it. You can see it, man. Just in the recruiting, the reports I get from the compliance office of the people I know there and the paperwork coming through there, it's a night and day recruiting operation compared to what Kelly ran. While I admit I'm frustrated what happened at the top end of the recruiting class in 23 with the NIL or whatever happened there. But it isn't for lack of effort. Like there are still issues. It is not lack of effort, and that's already progress to me. Anything else, my friend? What else you got?
So I think we're going to be pretty decent. I would say a little better than last year.
Better be. We better be a little better than last year. Like look at how much better. I'll just name 2 positions. Quarterback, wide receiver. Those rooms, in my opinion, have improved almost 100% full circle improvement in both those areas. That helps right away without even looking at anything else or my worries about the defense or anything. Those 2 facts right there make me feel way better.
Especially, with Sam Hartman and all that. Like
that should be exciting. We might actually have an offense that looks like a playoff capable offense.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on do you think he's going to be playing, or do you think, because I think it would kind of be a mistake, not kind of, it would be a mistake if they decided to make him the second stringer.
I believe that there is a legitimate competition. I believe Buckner is going to push him and hold his own because Buckner's a tough kid and a warrior who gives his all for Notre Dame. But I believe in the end, if they're both healthy, Artman's going to win that job. And then we go from there. Then the question becomes, how do you keep Buckner engaged and all of that? So that's how I see it going.
I just think it would be a big mistake if they decided to not play him at all. But they,
Yeah, no, I don't think the guy's coming here on a 6-year deal, 6th year situation, trying to get an NFL profile to ride the bench. At the same time, he should have to earn it. You don't just get to come in here and play like crap all spring and not pay attention or whatever, and then you have the job just because you're a 6th-year guy. So you have to have the competition, and I just believe he's going to win it. And we go into the year 1-2, him and Buckner.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely think. Um, like, what's your prediction? Like, what do you think our record's gonna be this season? Like,
What you
you
gotta
think it's
be
gonna be
is
better?
you gotta be 10-2 or better. You have to end up 10-2 or better, in my opinion, to eliminate a lot of negativity. 10-2 or better. I don't think people are looking for single digit wins again. Marcus had his 1 year of calibration and dealing with the Kelly recruiting and nobody a wide receiver and everybody a quarterback is 3 feet tall or injured. All of that's over. People are expecting big things. I realize the schedule is tough. 10-2 or better has to be it this year, period.
Yeah, I mean, estimate everybody looks pretty good for the most part.
Yep, I think so too. So I got questions on the defense, but we're going to get some of those answers. And also, the better the offense is, the more it relieves pressure off the defense. So I'm thinking of that as well. All right, man, I'm going to get some other folks on. I thank you for the call. Program the number, and then meet up with me for a beer in South Bend. I'll have a blue. I think I'm going to have a blue and gold tailgate. Come over, find the flag, have a beer.
Okay.
Beautiful. Well, thanks for calling, my friend. Yeah, it's always good to have some new people, man. Thanks for calling.
Yep. Thanks.
See ya. Telling you, you chatters. Man, some of you guys, some of you chatters, you got a lot to say about everybody else. Where are you calling in with your thoughts, making them all sound perfect? A lot of people are easy to go, I don't know about this caller. I don't see you calling in. I want to see Cousin Luke. Call me, Cousin Luke. Expose yourself. Let me know your real name. Christopher Morgan, $20 holler. Let's try to average under $1 in donos per live so we can hear our Canadian ND brothers and sisters and their thoughts. Or 100% likes per video would be great. We are ND. Let's do this. Fund the phone line for John's content. I appreciate you. Thank you very much, Christopher Morgan. That is beautiful, man. That is, man, you guys are nice. Here we go. Here's Eric again, man. He's still lawyering. Can't let C. Morgan out donate me. Here you go, John. $20 holler. Boom. All that. I got it auto on the phone lines. I got it set up automatically. So if the threshold of the amount of money I have in to keep the line going wears down in the middle of a show, I have it set up where it just automatically charges my credit card to keep it going. I'm telling you, all the money you guys donate go right into the streaming software and the phone lines. I'm not buying steak dinners and eating caviar with it. Promise you that. Oh. Yeah. Pat, that's a very good point. Pat says Cousin Luke can't call in because he'll be exposed as Newt Rockney. And then once he's exposed as Newt Rockney, then we got to figure out who the hell is Newt Rockney's account. Oh, you guys are fun and funny. Fun and funny. 707. Good morning.
Good morning, John. How are you?
I'm doing very well. It's good to hear from you. I hope you had a good weekend. What's on your mind, my friend?
Well, I'm not sure.
You know what? That might be my best call I've ever gotten yet on this show. That is absolutely fantastic. No, you know what happened, man? This is really my problem because I made you wait on the line so much. Your mind's probably just melted by now.
I know. What I think, though, is actually you're in the zone this morning. It's like I don't really have a whole lot to add because you've been really given, some really thought out and solid opinions on what's going on with Notre Dame.
Well, that makes me feel little.
Today.
Thank you. And you know what? That zone, that's a real thing. Just like when you're in golfing and you're in the zone, when you're, a shooter in basketball and you're in the zone, this has a zone too. And if you're in it, you ride it for all you can. And if you're not in it, you fight through it to get through it. If your mind's somewhere else, you just don't have that energy. So yeah, you are right though. There is a
Yeah, one
zone.
of the thoughts I had while I was listening was, you were talking a few calls ago about Jadarian Price getting into the games. Well, I
Special
think that
teams.
the same way we
Special
saw
teams.
Diggs, Lorenzo Diggs, is it?
Yeah,
I
Logan.
think that
Yeah.
he made his way into that lineup, and I
Yeah.
think if Price has that kind of an ability, he'll see the field.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's so disappointing. I went to the blue and gold game last year, and what I love about blue and gold is you could sit wherever you want. So I always go to the highest point at like the middle of the field, go all the way up where I can lean against the backdrop, have a crystal clear picture. The first thing I recognized and noticed was JD Price flashing in a way that looked totally different with the speed burst that I'm not used to. And then I look at the number, I realize it's this young guy, and then he got hurt. So you're like a year behind on all that, but we feel great about running back. How do you get him in the mix? Is it red zone, or is he a guy you could experiment with kick returns and ease him in that way? And I got to know how healthy he is. Did he lose any of that burst? What am I working with?
Yeah. No, I think he definitely showed himself before the injury of his potential. So I think that potential, when you get him out on the field, he's going to earn his way in, just the way Diggs did. And
Yeah.
Estimate too, Estimate was given a chance and he started hurling guys, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, who the heck is this?
Yeah, running them over.
Now these guys are the leaders. So,
Hey,
you earn your way on the field, and if Price can do that, and I think he can, then it's great that we're going to have that new.
Hey, you know what? I think I got something
Tyree
to
go to the slot.
That's such a good move. It's such a natural move that benefits everybody in every way. It's a really natural move. I love that, and it gives that wide receiver room like an experienced guy that's, even though not at wide receiver, but that's been around. I just like that. More carries to be spread with the running backs. And now you're not handing the ball to Tyree north south, which isn't his strength anyways. Let him get the ball in space. I love every single thing about that. I think you're the one who might have put this in my head last week. Why am I having these fleeting thoughts of worrying about the interior offensive line? Am I overdoing that? Did you put that in my mind?
Yeah,
I think all weekend, I think you're the one who brought it up to me last time we talked. And all weekend it's been in my mind. I'm going, these towers of terror on the edges aren't going to help you if you're caving in the middle.
Well, I think I think that the one thing I'll say that I've been really down on Zeke Correll, but actually the last two games of last year he actually looked better. So I don't want you to get totally freaked out about that, because I know I've been down on him forever.
Oh, you know me. I never totally freak out about Notre Dame things. You know me. I stay calm. Yeah, don't worry, buddy. I'm smooth sailing. I'm good to go.
Maris Leopold. There. Just get there.
Or,
I was laughing at it.
Wait, either get there or at least cut your hair so it's not so obvious to me you're not getting there. You don't even have to get there, but cut the mane so I don't see so clearly that you're not getting there. Yeah. One or the other, but I really see that hair.
Last year. I mean, I didn't care for Bertrand last year, and I didn't care for Leofold last year. They just didn't prove anything to me.
Okay, but Bertrand, every time this comes up with Bertrand, here's the answer from the pros in the industry that follow this stuff. Every time this discussion comes up, what I hear and read is, you fans that are bitching about Bertrand are only seeing when something goes wrong. You don't see the 80 plays where he's right where you need to be and he makes a sound play or is where he needs to be. You're only noticing when it doesn't go that way, which is the rare times. That's what I hear whenever this comes up.
Yeah, I don't agree that that's the rare thing. I think that was more the common thing. What I saw him, and the same thing with Cam Hart. I saw them chasing plays. I saw Cam Hart go for the first fake every play and then get beat, So Bertrand, I saw him trying to chase down receivers, when he's supposed to be in pass coverage, and he's just never, dictating play. He's following the play. So those are the two concerns. Everyone always loves Cam Hart. I don't see it. I haven't seen it yet. And he played a little bit better last year, but not nearly to what his billing is of what most people think about him. So that's another concern for me.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, defensive line it's just, we're short there, and we're short on bodies, and we're short on the bodies I need and the size I need and the experience. And it's not fair of me. It's not fair of me to mark them as a negative just because I'm not comfortable, because they're not all proven. But you lost 4 of your 6 top tacklers, over half your sacks, and the leading guy returning only has 33 tackles. That's a lot of risk up front. That's a lot of risk. It is. And they could be just fine. But my position is, I can't enter the year thinking they're fine until they prove they're fine, when I have this many legitimate questions. They're not questions I'm making up. It's a lack of experience. I don't see a rotation I love, and I don't see the big bodies I think we need to stop getting ran on in the big 3 games.
Yeah. Well, another thing I was thinking too when I was listening is that you were saying that Al Golden needs to mix in a lot more players. I saw that happen last year with him. He seemed like, I think you'll see when they start getting into the weeks and seeing these kids on the roster that have played before, I think you're going to be surprised to see just how many had some experience last year, because Golden was bringing in all different. I would say he probably brought in about 18 players for every game. Like he was mixing it up, trying to see what works, but also just getting people familiarized with different positions and trying to see who might shine in certain positions.
Yeah.
So I really do like Golden. And I'll tell you another thing I heard about Marcus Freeman. I think he said in a press conference that every one of his 10 coaches have been asked to go either to their school or go to the NFL.
Yeah,
so
I saw that.
That says something pretty good about what his coaches are. Like Al Washington, like you're saying, I don't think he got many offers, and I don't think he's the answer for the defensive line. But other than him, and of course this new offensive coordinator we don't know anything about. He was a tight end coach, and he was brought in for, a quick fix kind of thing. So, I have a feeling Swarbrick didn't want to get embarrassed for a second guy with a name as offensive coordinator to say no to them. So yeah. I think what they did was they promoted from within and then wound up, hoping for the best there. But Gaduli, the quarterback coach, I think is going to be great for this team.
Yeah, me too. The more I look into his history, the more I like it. I think that is a really, really good fit. And the other question I have always had is, when we were doing all this with Tommy Rees, he was the offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach. Sometimes I wonder if he got wrapped up in the bigger picture of the offensive coordinating, and then some of the day-to-day minutia that goes into these quarterbacks was missing. Because otherwise, it's one potential reason I didn't see any of these guys develop to the point I wanted them to. I don't know. Is that fair or not?
No, it's totally fair.
I think so too, because they're different jobs. They're connected jobs.
Look at the quarterbacks we had. We had nobody. So they were both lazy.
You know what I want to see, man? Just out of genuine curiosity. And I know they're not going to have equal talent, but I kind of want to see how Drew Pine does. Where is he? Arizona State, right? I want to see if he wins that job and how he does. I'm interested. Just now that it's not my problem, I'm very interested to see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, I when you brought out that point, I didn't think about that before, about Kelly going up against Rees. I think that's going to be fun.
Oh my word. It's like, I want Rees to hang 60 points on that guy. Like, it's not even, I've had people ask me, who are you picking? It's not even close. I am going to be, I'm going to get my elephant trunk going, roll tide. I'm doing the whole thing.
And I'm going to do the Schadenfreude and hope they both lose.
Well, I hope maybe there's an asteroid floating in orbit somewhere. Do us a favor.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Rees. I never had been, and he's going to be exposed with Saban. I'm really shocked that Saban would bring him in. Like, I don't know how he sees anything.
Now wait. Depending on who you read or listen to about this, some people will tell you that Reese was about his third or fourth choice. And so it's not like he started this going, I need Tommy Reese. Like, I have heard and read some people say that he was like second, third, fourth choice. So I don't know if that changes the way you're looking at that or not.
Yeah, but maybe in terms of recruiting, but he actually started playing him as a freshman. And, the kid showed something, that was decent, but certainly not to be like a 3 or 4 year starter, because he threw the ball like it was a watermelon. He was turnover Tommy, and when the big plays had to be made, we knew that he was going to be the one to kill their chances.
You know what I always say, what always bothers me? God, I'm such a jerk, man. I'm just a jerk, but I always say this when this comes up. The fastest Tommy Reese ever ran was away from those cops at the house party drinking underage. It's the fastest he ever ran was to avoid that underage drinking ticket. Shaking defenders, and defenders were policemen, just shaking them off, spin moves, high stepping with that beer not spilling. It's the fastest the guy ever ran. And he still didn't get away. I'm a jerk, though. I'm a jerk. I wish Tommy the best. Tommy's a Notre Dame guy in his DNA. He always will be forever. Yeah, I respect Tommy. I just wanted more out of the offense.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting because, you go from a guy like Lane Kiffin that Saban brings in, and then you go to Tommy Reese. Like, what, how do you justify that?
One thing I got to admit, now that you brought him up, very rarely am I the type of guy to make up my mind on what I feel about a person and then change it later. I 100% have flipped on Lane Kiffin. For all those years, he was like a pretty boy getting jobs because of who his dad's name was in the NFL. Then he was at USC and I had to hate him and he was being all like a little smug jerk. Now.
Well, he was also pretty heavily drinking over at USC, I think.
Yeah, well, man, when in Hollywood, I guess. But now he's like a fun, lighthearted personality, makes fun of himself, self-deprecating, just simple humor that everybody relates to. Like, he doesn't have the typical delivery of one of these big SEC wizard coaches. I like Lane now. He trolls people online, other coaches. I like Lane. I flipped on him. He let himself come out instead of acting in a way he thought he had to because of his family name and what a head coach should present. He got over that, and his actual personality I kind of find appealing. I wouldn't want him coaching Notre Dame, but from a distance, I like watching him.
Oh, shit. I would love to have him at offensive coordinator, actually.
Yeah, well, as the head guy.
We just don't know.
As the head guy. But OC, that'd be a riot. Like, he could bring his dog over to practice, everything. I love it.
Yeah. All right, John. I don't have a whole lot for today. I just wanted to call in.
I'm telling you, you made my day, though. I might have to clip that out as a clip when I just said, what's on your mind? Well, now that I'm on, I don't know.
I don't really know.
It's my fault. That is not your fault.
Figure.
That is my fault for poisoning the well with an hour of thoughts before I got to you. That's my fault, buddy.
Not at all. I enjoyed listening to you waiting to go on because you were in the zone today. You were bringing out great points. So
I appreciate that.
That's why I'm a fan and I call in to support.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot. Have a good one. Give me a call later in the week.
Okie doke. See ya.
See ya.
Go Irish.
Go Irish. Oh, man. 818. Make it great. Good morning on a Monday.
Blue skies smiling down on me. Nothing but blue skies do I see. Always a great day when you're listening to John, and always Irish Monday morning. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very well. I don't know. It's been a lively morning. There's just been a lot of conversation, and I'm here for it, man. What do you think? What have you been thinking all weekend? I know you're always thinking, man. Your Notre Dame wheels are always spinning. What do you got now?
Oh, this has actually been one of the more I like. The show's been good. It's been a very general show, which is cool. It's like there's a lot of just kind of like, okay, let's pick this topic. This topic wasn't really one particular thing we really really hyper focused on. So it's been interesting. I wrote down some things as the callers. The last caller, what is this? What's his name? The last caller was just on.
I don't have his full name because I just have the last name on the caller ID.
Area code?
70707. It's California. Regular guy.
Okay.
Regular guy, because he's on all during the season.
707.
Yeah, 707. And he's a regular, like he calls all the time.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. I was like, I like his calls because he's always he sounds like an elderly statesman in terms of Notre Dame football knowledge. I'm not trying to age him. I don't know how old he is, but he's very, pretty calm and calls. Often he makes fantastic points, and then generally speaking, every once in a while I'll have one point that I adamantly disagree, and I want to bring that up right now.
Beautiful. That's the point of all this. I love it. Let's do it.
Man, he makes great points, but I just totally disagree. And then, you know what? I'm gonna get a little fiery on this one, John, because I'm so certain. And look, man, if I'm wrong 10 years from now, then I will eat crow, no doubt. And this is going for everybody. You all are not you so much, John, but I'm telling you, Reese is going to be a fantastic head football coach. He's going to be a fantastic. I thought that, and I'm telling you, man, when he first, there was just a feeling I got. I remember. Any of my friends would tell you, I brought this up to him in his freshman year. There was something about his demeanor. I'm like, that guy is going to be a great coach one day. And I wasn't thinking just coach. I was thinking head coach. You know what I mean? It would make no sense for Tommy Reese to take that Alabama job unless it's to set him up for a head coaching job later. Come on. The guy's the offensive coordinator at Notre Dame. He has NFL people that are very high on him. He could get an offensive coordinator job at a high level, an NFL team. He could get he could take that Alabama job as an offensive coordinator, but why make a parallel move to the place you used to work at? Let's flip out money, and I don't believe it is. Or you want to learn, a couple nuances you didn't already have. Or if, one day I'm going to be a head coach, and if I could have that guy in my resume, why would I pass that up? And some people I remember saying a couple times ago, a few weeks ago, when we were talking about him taking the job for Alabama, and he would never go back to Kelly. Well, why would he go back to Kelly? If your aspiration is to be a head coach, why would you? And I'm telling you, that is what he is setting himself up for. I'm not saying it's going to happen right away. He may get a couple offensive coordinator positions in an NFL team. That guy is going to be a head coach, and he's going to be so good.
College or pros? College or pros? Or does it make a difference?
Oh, I don't. That's a good point. I think it's going to be. Oh, wow, that's an interesting one. Probably college, because I think what'll happen. This is my guess. Is he could go into the pros, but I think he would probably stay an offensive coordinator for a little longer. Is my guess. Whereas I think what's going to probably happen after Alabama, I'd be surprised if it didn't. He's probably going to get a head coaching position at not necessarily I always forget the name of these things now. It used to be called the Bull Subdivision. I don't know what the hell they call them now.
Yeah.
The teams that are right under the.
All right, now wait. All right, wait. I got to ask a very fair. I got to ask, and this, I'm being as fair as I can possibly be. What has Tommy Reese accomplished as a player and coach that makes you so confident he's going to become not only a head coach, but be really good at it? That is a genuine question. I'm not loading it. I'm not being sarcastic. What have you seen from his body of work so far that makes you so confident? I'm open to it being a possibility, but there's nothing I've seen as a player or coach that reaffirms that, that's the fast track next guy. What makes you so sure? What have you seen? Huh? Where'd you go?
John, I've seen nothing.
Okay.
Legitimately on paper that I can back up to say, okay.
So then what's making you think it then? What's making you think it then?
It's absolutely all the intangibles, the gut feeling of things. Think about it, John. When you're a head coach, what do you have to be great at?
Dealing with people,
well, many,
number one.
Right? There's many things.
Dealing with knowing how to lead your people is the main thing. How do you get the most out of your group?
And it's the intangibles of Tommy Rees that I love. I was thinking when you asked me that question, you know who else I'd say that about? Going back 20 years.
Wait! Give me the tangible intangibles. Wait. Give me the tangible intangibles. What is it? Notre Dame.
All the things.
No Notre Dame offenses have been good enough. So there isn't that tangible. I don't think his personality lights up a room. That's an intangible, but I don't feel it from him. So where is it? What is it?
All right. Well, I'm going to tell you. Like, it's literally a bunch of little things, John. That's the thing. These are things we don't see. You can't touch it. You can't feel it. You can't necessarily smell it. But you can feel it. You know, and I think that there's
I do from Marcus.
State,
I do feel it from Marcus.
When Saban got the job at Michigan State, was hired by LSU, I thought, what is so great about this guy? Everybody seems to be high on him, just like NFL coaches were about Rees and other coaches as well. Like, I don't get it. I don't see anything in his background that he accomplished that would show that he's such a good coach. Some people's best attributes is when they rise to the top, meaning they're better at macro managing and all these little things. Maybe they're not the absolute best at coaching a quarterback, but they're good at a little bit of everything, and that's my point. I think Tommy Rees is just a football guy. I don't believe, I never thought this. This is going to be a guy who knows all about the quarterback position, or this is the guy that's going to be a great play caller, although I do think he's a good play caller. What I like about Tommy Rees is I do think he has intangible leadership qualities that I feel when I'm hearing him talk, that it's not rah-rah. You say, his personality doesn't light up a room, but it kind of does when you get into it more.
Yeah.
And if there's someone on the other side of that, you can see how someone like that, okay, after about 5 minutes starts to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could see that.
But then And again, it's just an intangible, John. It's not something I can necessarily point to and say this, just other than the intangibles. Marcus Freeman, you could say a lot more as well. I mean, let's be honest, and I love Marcus Freeman. You know that. We're on the same page. But you could say the same thing for him. What has he actually accomplished?
I feel
what
like...
What has he actually accomplished? I'm talking about other schools.
I feel like his recruiting record and effort stands out to me above anybody else that's been connected to Notre Dame for a very long time. That is a huge practical thing that was known about him at Cincinnati. But he just was known as a grade A recruiter. And to me, that was one of the top things Kelly staffs did not feature. That was a big deal to me to have that. And then, so the recruiting's a big deal to me. Here's the other thing, though, and this could be me personally, my communicative style and preference. I relate to Marcus's vibe 100% more than I do Tommy's, where he's more kind of laid back and quiet. But then when something blows up, he lets you have it. Like the Drew Pine thing in the booth. Why do you, do your job? Like, I just relate more naturally to Freeman's kind of delivery and style and vibe, and not as much on Tommy. And then how do I parse out potential biases of the image of him not being a great quarterback playing, like did enough, did some good things, but not elite. And then the offenses at Notre Dame he's been in charge of, nothing to write home about. I admit there could be biases in there where those things that weren't where I want them could affect it. Listen, he might turn into exactly what you're saying. I'm just saying I haven't seen anything that would make me lean forward or against it. I'm just kind of wait and see. And I don't know. So maybe I'm judging. I don't know.
Well, and I'm not even saying it's unfair to look at it that way, because you're right. I mean, all I'm saying is, as any college football fan knows, man, more so in college football than definitely in the pros, man, you can just get a it's much more based on the feeling of things. You know what I mean? You got that feeling, John. The Clemson game, it was different. There was a feeling. Yeah. Maybe you couldn't put okay, we're gonna play this great, because there wasn't anything that made sense that we should have blown them out the way we did, in the way we did. When a lot of Clemson's strengths were the ones that were our strengths, or their strengths on defenses were our strengths on offense, so it kind of thought would equal itself out. Sometimes there's just a feeling, man, and I got a feeling about Tommy Rees. I just do. And I think it's not as an offensive coordinator. That's why I don't think he's good, but that's why he doesn't blow people away, because that's not his destiny. His destiny is to be a head coach. And to me, that kind of sort of quiet intensity that he has, that's a great compliment to what Marcus Freeman's bringing to the situation. Okay, and I think Marcus would have definitely kept it. I really do feel like I don't know anything, obviously, and you probably know a whole lot more from what the inside knowledge you have than I do, but I feel like Marcus really enjoyed working with Rees, and I think when he moved on, he moved on, but I don't think it was one of those things they didn't have a good relationship. And also, I got to give Tommy Rees a lot of credit for one thing. One thing that we knocked him for a little bit, but we also were like, well, let's wait and see when Kelly's not there, was his recruiting prowess.
Yep.
Well, the first year that Kelly wasn't there, he brought in Minchie.
Yep.
He got Carr to commit. He had Hartman come over.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, man.
The other thing is,
I don't think that was
I'm going to give him credit on another one. And that would be, even though the Dante Moore thing didn't work out, he was a big part having us in that mix. And I do credit him for all that. Man.
It's weird, John. It's so weird. It's so weird because when he was hired, when he was brought over to Alabama, and the first reaction was, oh, and then it was like, oh, that's good. I actually felt good about it, but not because he was leaving Notre Dame, because I wanted him away. I'm like, I've always seen that trajectory for him, man. I've always thought Tommy Rees is going to be Notre Dame's head coach one day. He's going to be here for a long time. So that's why I say
I admit, of all, I personally just never really naturally looked at him in that light until other people brought it up. It's just not something that occurred to me for whatever reason. And maybe that's personal. Maybe it's my biases. Listen, I am not saying I am certain he's never going to amount to that. He very well might. But this is going to be really interesting. He's got a chance to really raise his profile with Saban and work with real talent all over. It's going to be very interesting to see what that all looks like. Listen, he's a Notre Dame guy I'll respect forever. I just didn't see enough here that I could go where you're going and say, I feel really confident he's going to turn into that. He may, and it won't shock me if he does, because he knows more about football than I could ever read my whole life. But I just didn't. That isn't a natural inclination I had. It didn't.
It's weird, man. It's a little, admittingly, and now a lot of people, I really haven't talked to many people who think this way. I've had people or friends of mine, when I talk to the way I'm talking to you about it, and I outside the box and kind of follow the thoughts through to the end, they sort of see my point. And you know, again, time is only going to show if this is true or not. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, 10 years from now, you know, it's going to take a while because he's going to have to probably get a couple offense. I think probably, I mean, I definitely see him maybe getting hired as the head coach at a lower college football school. When I say lower, I just mean someone underneath maybe the top 50 or 60 programs.
Yeah.
But I probably see him going to the NFL first as an offensive coordinator. I do see that. But I see his future as a head coach and probably in college and eventually at Notre Dame. And I just, let's see, man.
I'm just picturing I'm picturing in my mind 50-year-old Tommy Rees, all skinny, walking around out there, all mad. Like, I'm just playing it out in my mind. It's all possible. And I know the guy knows a lot about football, but for whatever reason, I just didn't feel the offenses got as much out of what they could. And maybe some of that, I don't know, man. But I admit I have not spent that much time thinking about Rees. And now you just put it back in my head.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why this is a long game. This is the thought of the long game, because obviously there's nothing that you're going to see in those returns right away. That's something that's I'm just saying it's going to be interesting, John. Let's look and see how things pan out with that and see if down the line, you know, that I was right or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Wrong.
But I will say this. That guy did do a good job in recruiting. He built a lot of good relationships, and even some things that didn't go our way, I'm not going to blame him for. And so whatever, I wish him the best. I just wish our offenses were a little more electric here. That's all.
Well, and John, I'm sorry, one last thing. You brought up a good point. One of the reasons for why I say that about him, I think, as more of a head coach, that's the thing, is Reese never, I always felt like he was almost undercutting his profile by thinking complementary football. You know, it's the one thing I'll give Brian Kelly credit for is he did push that on the staff, and I think it did work for them. And that is, it's not just about your numbers. It's also about how does that affect the defense. And I think Reese thinks about all that stuff, and that's why I think his destiny is a head coach, but also why I think it's fantastic that he's going to coach under Saban, you know, who's better to learn from. The same guy I thought I admit, was like, what do people see in this guy? And then he became this great coach because I'm like, I didn't see it in anything he did in terms of position. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Didn't think at Michigan State he lit the world on fire. You know, not at all. He beat our ass every time he played us, but I'm talking beyond that. So that was one that turned out obviously fantastic. And now Reese is going to learn from that guy. Watch for Reese, man. That's all I'm saying.
There we go. All right. It wasn't a main thing on my radar, but I'm going to put it on the radar now. And if this guy ends up doing it all, then you're the man.
You say, wow, I'm so glad that he learned under the best. Now that he's our head coach and he's doing well, I'm just saying if that happens.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm open to it. I know the guy knows a lot about football. I'm open to it. I love where your brain shoots. It's all over the map, my friend. Thanks for calling on a Monday. Have a good week. Give me a call later in the week.
Yeah, you got it, John. Have a good one. Buddy.
Have a good one, man. You're always thinking, man. He's all over. Thinking. All right, couple more super chats. This isn't even Friday payday. I don't know what got into you people, but I really appreciate it. $50 holler from Christopher Morgan. Listen, John, this coming from one of my older fave movies, The Great Outdoors. You deserve a great steak. Put this towards the old 96er and not caviar. Yeah, I don't eat that stuff. Isn't it like fish eggs or something? I'm not classy enough for that. Who do you think I am? Give me a break. Also, I don't know if you saw this comment earlier enough. Imagine the new ripped AE at mid LB on Blitz. Yeah, I do like that. That'd be hilarious. He'd be out there killing people. Oh, hold on. I got a couple more of these. Forgive me if I missed any. $20 holler. All right, we did that one, and I appreciate it. $10 holler. Christopher Morgan hit the lottery this morning. I have not liked BK, even when I graduated from Grand Valley State in 01 when he was still the HC. I felt like he was above everybody else, even there. But he did rebuild the Notre Dame Foundation. For that, I'm grateful. Good riddance. That's kind of how I feel, too. He really did do a good job rebuilding the foundation and instilling a healthier culture and getting us to a certain level of respectability. And I have never said he did not provide that. But then you got to do more than that eventually. You got to win more later eventually. Like you just do. And that's the part we didn't get to. We got up to a certain point and you couldn't get past it without changing a lot of what you do and how you operate, how you recruit, how you develop, the coaches you hire, all that stuff. That wasn't going to change. So that's how we ended up getting similar results. Very, very good, but not elite. Very, very good, not elite. Undefeated, blowout in the playoff. Really good year. That was just the line. Doing it his way at Notre Dame, that was the line. You weren't getting over that hump doing it that way. And then to be a jerk about everything on top of it rubs everybody the wrong way even more. The way the guy treats people, talks to people. It ain't right. It ain't right. Eric, another $50 holler. You guys are paying the bills and creating the thrills. I'm trying to write a legal brief. C. Morgan keeps making me spend more money. What if C. Morgan is like somebody in my family upstairs and I'm like, donate another money and we could get everybody else to match it. Like I'm all for the silent auction here. Just know I really didn't set it up, Eric. And you must be smart because I don't have the capability to be able to listen to somebody doing what I'm doing and then write a doc. There's no way I could even do that in my mind. So You're ahead of me in that department. But thank you for the donations all day, man. That's you guys are great. All right, folks. Energetic Monday in a spring. We went 2 hours. Thank you everybody for being here. The chats, the donations, it makes my world go round. Stay tuned for more details on what we might be doing for Blue and Gold. It just might be try and park by me. It isn't that crowded. You don't need a pass. I put up a flag. We have a bunch of chairs, bunch of coolers. Bring whatever you want to eat or drink. We all hang out. Then we go to the game. Beautiful. Sounds like a great day to me. Pat's going to be there. I think he's got 6 people from his family coming. Maybe some of you won't show up now that would have. But if you want to meet Pat and all his people, we're having a big group. So I think it'll be fun. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. Even you, Cousin Luke. Even you, Cousin Luke. I want to have a beer with you, bro. I do. Oh, man. Look at Cousin Luke's he's going after Marcus. He's going after my love for Marcus. Why don't we get into that Wednesday? We'll do that. We'll get into that Wednesday, Cousin Luke. Come at me with that Freeman stuff. Have a good one, everybody. Have a good week. We'll see you.